Hello everybody, welcome to Leanna James Live, where we are talking all things hairdressing. I'm obviously doing two shows today, so today, or right now I should say, it's on at 3 o'clock or 3ish, and I'm going to do another one later tonight. Tonight's episode, which is very much in high anticipation, is about myths, so hair myths. There's a whole bunch of things like vinegar in the hair. Hi Kate, hi Katie, I should say, thanks for watching. We're going to be talking about vinegar in the hair. If you cut hair, does it grow more like you're pruning a tree? All sorts of stuff. But that's tonight's episode. Right now, today's episode, or this time slot's episode, I should say, is all about how hair lightens. So how your hair, the process of lightening your hair, and what you can and can't do. But for those that have never watched this before, we're just talking all things hairdressing. So I've done a whole bunch of shows on all the different products that we use, why we use them, what's the best to solve all different problems. And today is going to be, like I said, all about lightening hair. Now, very important to note a few of the essentials when it comes to having your hair become lighter. Number one, a few of the products. So you have peroxide. Probably everyone's heard peroxide before. Now peroxide's also used in a tint. So even when you color your hair brown, you're always using peroxide of some sort. Because what the peroxide actually does is it actually opens up the hair cuticle. And I'm going to actually use this little butcher paper over here in order to do it. To actually show everybody how it all works. So it actually opens up your cuticle and allows whatever product it is to get in there and do its magic. So if it's a tint, the tint will be doing it. If it's bleach, for example, or as we like to term it, lightener, then the lightener goes in there and lightens your hair. Peroxide is a very important thing. Now you have different levels of peroxide. Something that's really strong, really stretches those cuticles open wide to allow the product to get in. And then you have a 1.5 or a demi, which is doesn't open that cuticle anywhere near as much. So if I was to demonstrate to you how this would work, and I might actually, because of it's so light in here at the moment, I'm going to actually change my angles and go a little bit this way. That's nicer. So if I can show as an example on this piece of paper here. So you have your hair shaft runs a little bit like that. Hopefully you can see that in that corner there. Okay, and there's these little cuticles that sit on the outside. They overlap each other. Okay, now what the peroxide is designed to do is actually open those up to allow product to come in to the hair and do the magic that it needs to do. And that's why it's important to always know that there's going to be some sort of peroxide used in your hair. Generally when you're getting your hair color done. There's another option that we have, and I want to show you this because a lot of people ask, can you not use bleach basically to lighten hair? And the answer is yes, you cannot use bleach. And you'll see that all along on this book, right at the top, there are the lightest of colors, then there's these colors just in here. They're all high lift tints, okay? So what they do is they actually lighten the hair much like a bleach would lighten their hair, okay? The thing is with a high lift is that you're just not going to get as clean a color as you would when you want. So if you want a blonde like this one, right, I'm pretty much guaranteeing you're not going to get away with not using some form of lightener, whether it's a bleach or something, okay? You might get to a color like this by using a high lift if that is what you think you want, all right? That's very optimistic, I might add, right? But most often it is a quite warm blonde if you are going to go down the path of a high lift. A lot better for your hair, doesn't stress out your hair anywhere near as much. But did you know that we have this little guy here called the Novaplex? So when you're lightening your hair these days and you want to use some bleach, highly recommend that you use a Plex, because what tends to happen with the hair, and again I'm going to show you on this board, or makeshift board, is that when you lighten hair, there's all these, and I'll just use little squares to show hair bonds, okay? So when you magnify hair, it'll look like this, okay? Probably wouldn't look exactly like this, but this is how they would illustrate it. okay? And when you're lightening hair, some of these bonds get broken, okay? And these cuticles that I was showing you before are parts that will be potentially harmed. What the Novaplex does is it actually goes in and tries to reimagine these bonds afterwards, okay? So you're basically preventing that breakage. I believe if you're using Bond Defense, shampoo, conditioner, and the Novaplex, you can save up to, I think it was around 89% of breakage compared to people that don't use it. So highly recommended. It's a big return on your investment when using that. Okay, so I just wanted to explain. There was bleach, there was high lift that I was explaining. High lift's not as intense. Now there's one last one, and that is eliminator. Now everyone knows that if you have virgin hair, I'll explain a little bit about the difference between virgin hair and artificial color. But if you have colored hair and you want to lighten it out, so you want to strip that color out of the hair, it's very difficult, even with bleaches and whatever else. So what we've designed is a new product called Eliminator. Now, if I can use a different part of my makeshift board, maybe just over here, okay? Eliminator. Okay, so when you're coloring hair, and I'll use, so we'll say square is your normal pigment, triangle represents artificial color, okay? So then you have normal with normal, normal with artificial, normal with artificial, normal with normal, right? What tends to happen with what does happen with the eliminator is that when we apply the product into your hair, it actually breaks these bonds in between the artificial color and your natural color. And then we go through a process where it actually comes out of the hair. So we use 3% peroxide, which opens up that cuticle, allows the artificial color to just drain out of, if I can do a big hair shaft, right? It all comes out of the hair shaft like so, okay? Really nice process for your hair, really great outcome for your hair in terms of the condition of the hair. It doesn't stress out. Like I said before, when you're going in there with bleach and peroxide, you're opening up that cuticle and then you're attacking everything. And bleach tends to attack your natural pigment as well as your artificial one, where the eliminator really just tries to focus on removing the artificial color out of your hair. So those are the three sort of different real options. You've got high lift, you've got bleach, which gets you hardcore, lightness, the lightness that you can get out there, and then you have your eliminator that's really great for artificial color. But I thought I would touch on very important stuff, which is difference between virgin hair and artificial color. So when you go into the hair shaft you are using a product to break down the color pigment that's in there at the time, what you have to understand, when virgin hair is that process is happening to virgin hair, there's a lot less actually happening for that to actually occur. So when the product goes in there, it's only breaking down your natural pigment to get it to the color that we're trying to get to. It could also be that we're trying to get brown or whatever color it is that we're going for, but today we're talking about lightening hair. When you have colored your hair in the past, the product that we use, or anyone for that matter, has to do two processes. Number one, it has to break down the natural pigment still and all the underlying tones. The second thing that it has to do is also break down the artificial color. So it's going into the hair shaft and it's trying to break down all those different elements that are sitting in your hair. And when you have build-up, this is when people have build-up and you say, why can't I get my hair light quickly? Because that build-up of color is just sitting in the hair. When we're putting product in, it's stretching out those cuticles, really stretching out those cuticles, and then it's going in and trying to dissolve that color and that pigment from the hair, trying to get it lighter and lighter and lighter. Okay, that's why you have different lightening outcomes from virgin hair and different lightening outcomes from pre-colored hair. Very important. There is this idea that somehow you can lighten your hair, lighten your artificially colored hair with tint. Tint does not lighten tint. When I say doesn't, you might get a half a shade or something like that, but you're not going to get, you know, black to blonde just using a tint. It's just not going to happen. It's hard enough, even if you're naturally dark brown, using a tint to get your light from virgin hair, let alone if you have artificial color. But artificial color is not going to be lightened by any tint that we have in our store, quite frankly. So get that one out of your head very, very quick. Now, it's always good and very important to talk about maintenance, okay? So I'm going to go back to our board here, and I am going to use this little corner here. So, I was explaining before, your hair shaft. Hopefully everyone can see this, alright? And then there's all these little things sitting out here. Okay, they're called your cuticles. Right? Now, when they're severely stressed, okay, that's where you're going to start having some of your problems with the integrity of the hair. That's where, if these ones are all breaking off, that's where your split end actually occurs. Okay? And that's when you will be in trouble on this part of your hair, okay? And you'll have issues with breakage and whatnot. This is where it's important for certain things to occur. So oil balance, I've talked about. Equilibrium, I've talked about. Also protein complex. G'day Tula. I've talked about all these products because they help with the integrity of the hair shaft, okay? When you're lightening hair and you're putting it through quite a bit of stress sometimes because people have high demands, okay, it is very important that we're looking after it with the right type of products. Now, Bond Defense, like I explained before, again, helps the integrity of that hair shaft. If that hair shaft is like this, and all of a sudden you've stretched it out like this, you need to get it shut again, and you need to look after it, making sure that it's nice and moist, and making sure that it's pliable, etc. Okay? These are where all these products are essential. Shampoo, conditioner, same thing. Very important that we go into the hair shaft and actually give it a nice clean and make sure that it's nicely, beautifully flowing hair. Brushing. You don't have to over brush, but you do have to brush. I've advocated this many, many times, but using and making sure, and I'll just see if I've got it in here. No, I don't. Give me 1 second. You're going to come for a walk with me. G'day, Stacey. Important that we're brushing our hair, something gentle and nice on the hair shaft, okay? We're talking all things lightening the hair at the moment. Here's another Tangle Teaser example. Nice soft bristles. Make sure you're following that hair shaft. Especially if you're going to go through intense colouring of your hair, it's very important that you're gentle on those cuticles. They're already going to potentially have a little bit of stress on them. Why would you want to apply more through a combing technique or a really hard scrubbing technique when you're washing it? Again, shampoo and conditioner, you don't want to be using something harsh on your hair. If you've just spent a whole bomb of money on lightening your hair, as I've just explained earlier, why would you want to go use something harsh on the hair that's just going to stress out that cuticle even more? If we've achieved a really good colour for you, best that you get the right type of hair color, conditioner and shampoo that's going to actually look after the issues that you have. Okay, so maintenance is very, very important. And then finally, especially on blondes, we're talking about going from dark to light. So I'm going to talk a little bit about things that we would use in this situation. All things like our Nova, we would use our Nova Fusion color range, hair shampoo color range, I should say, which is great for blondes, all right? Our silver shampoo, unbelievable for blonde hair. If you want to get a blonde looking like this, this is where it will come in, very important, because that last little bit of discoloration when you get it this light, okay, is very important because you want to get it from this to that. Using your silver shampoo is amazing. If, however, you prefer something more like a little bit warmer, you got things like your rosewood. If you have grey hair and you just want to get rid of that little bit of discoloration on grey hair, we've got a special grey shampoo as well. We've also got Illuminate, which I've shown in the past. So go look at my other videos and you'll see the really deep purpley tones that are in our Illuminate shampoo and conditioner. Okay. Very important, and my final last message really on going from dark to light is all about treatments, okay? One thing that occurs when you're lightening hair specifically is that the hair itself will dry out, Okay, we need to smash in as much moisture as you can into the hair shaft and on top of the hair shaft as possible. Two things that are critical. Number one is going to be, like I said to you, equilibrium before, highest content of moisture that you have in all of our products. That goes into the hair and around the hair shaft and cuticle. And then it's important that we continue to make sure that our sebum, the oil that's naturally produced, this mimics it, gets onto the ends of the hair and makes sure that those cuticles are nice and shut, but also that they're nice and pliable, moving nice and freely. Okay? If you have any other questions, please get to me, DM me, and I'll be more than happy to go through anything that I've covered today. All right? So just remember, when you're lightening your hair, peroxide probably going to be used. 2, you don't have to use a bleach, you can use a high lift, but the high lift won't get you to this beautiful white blonde. You're always going to probably have to use some sort of lightener in some way. Okay. Also, we have a product that's really exciting called an eliminator, which effectively dissolves artificial color from the hair and gets it out before we do any of the other work to get your hair into something like this or like this. Enjoy. Tonight we'll be doing all myths, and that should be a lot of fun. And I look forward to seeing you all then. Have fun. See you. Bye.